everyone. I did a video a couple of years ago, so I thought, okay, backtrack. I did a video a couple of years ago where I spoke about how I went from cleaner to director, and I spoke about my career journey, and I will try and find that video and I will link to it below. But for any of you who saw or didn't see that, I thought what I'd do in this, just as like a get to know me, I want to talk to you about some of my best jobs, some of the jobs I've had where I've learnt the most. And you might actually be quite interested to hear what these are, because they won't be the kind of things that you would imagine I would come on here and say, this has been my best job because of whatever. You might be quite surprised. So this is like a get to know me really for any of you who are newish. So YouTube is very much my hobby. It's a hobby that I love. I love doing YouTube. I feel like I know so many of you, recognize your usernames, absolutely love you. And I love talking to you all on YouTube. And for me, YouTube will always be a hobby. I can't see myself not doing it anymore. Although I did say I kind of want to quit before I hit 500,000 because that's a scary number. I don't know how, maybe I'll feel differently when I get to that number. But right now I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that. But my first best job was working as a waitress. So I got my first job when I was old enough to do so, which in the UK is around about 15 or 16. Maybe it's 16, I can't remember. So I got my first job and I was working at a pub, and I was working at this pub as a waitress. And I loved it. I remember my first day and I was terrified because this is my first proper job. I actually thought I'd gone in for an interview, but they told me, here, put on the uniform, go and get started. And I was like, I learned things such as, and I still can do it now, how to carry multiple plates up 2 arms. I learned how to do it. So you have one, let me show you. So you do like this with your fingers, that with your fingers, and you hold one. And then with your arm out straight, you place another there and another there and another there. And then you have one in this hand. And then with this hand, you serve that one. And then with that hand, once you've put the plate down, you take these off and you put these around the table. So I learned things like that. I learned one thing that really scared me is I had to memorize all of the table numbers in this place. And you have no clue how difficult that is. When you're in a kitchen and the kitchen is like, service please, and they say that when they need you to take the food out. The plates are molten hot because they're on these hot plates and they've been heated. And you've got to bosh them up your arm, and you've got to get out of this revolving door, take the food out, serve it properly. But you have to know the table number. You can't be walking around in circles going, oh my God, where's table 10? You have to kind of know. And so this was one thing that I was, on that first day, they showed me how to load the plates up, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to drop these 100%. I didn't, but because actually when you're holding them in the right way, they really stay still up your arm. And I'd be saying to people, oh my gosh, where is this table? And they basically have to take me to the table and point it out to me. And then and in the kitchen, there was a map on the wall of the pub and all of the table numbers. So that kind of helped because you could look at that before you left the kitchen and go, okay, table 23 is around there. Okay, I know where I'm going. But I mucked it up quite a lot of times. My next best job was when I worked at a care home for the elderly. And I worked there for years so I finished the job as the waitress. I was there for, say, I think a year or maybe a year and a half. And one of my friends left that job and went to work at this care home and then contacted me and said, here, you know what? Quit the waitressing job, come and work with me because the money's actually loads better. And so I did. And at first I didn't like working there because the work was totally different and it wasn't as fast paced. It was more on like a much slower level. So what we used to do is we'd get there and you'd have like a piece of paper and it would have all of the residents and what they'd ordered the day before, food-wise. And then you'd have on wheels, kind of like this stack system. And you'd take a tray and you'd work with the chef, and the chef would be like, okay, macaroni cheese, and you'd be like, okay, that's room number 101, I'll take that, put that on the tray. What drink did they order? Okay, orange juice, blah blah blah. Dessert, starter, you do all of that, and then you'd put the tray in the rack, and then you'd wheel the whole thing around the place, and you'd take food to the individual residents in their room. Some people would eat in like the dining room, but a lot of people like to eat in their room and watch TV and stuff. And I didn't mind doing it, but the pace was quite slow, because you then went back to the kitchen and you'd give it like an hour to an hour and a half before you went back and you collected the plates again. And it was like, what do you do with yourself in that hour and a half when you're waiting? It felt quite boring. So I was doing that for a while. The money was good compared to this waitressing job. And then another job came up in the same place. And it was more hours, it was better paid, and it was working as a cleaner. And I'm really into keeping things clean, I'm really into that. So I thought, right, I'll give this a go. I'll do it. So I did this through my summer holidays, and while I was at sixth form, and then while I was at university, like whenever I could in the holidays. And I learnt so much in this job. I learnt things like, one thing I was taught is when you're cleaning, let's say you're cleaning a bathroom, my boss, who was like the head cleaner, who was amazing, she was so nice, she was like, what you do is you crouch down at toilet level, and you crouch down at the level in the bath, and you look up, and you look at the underside of the sink, you look at the underside of the soap dish that might be on the wall, you look at the underside of the tap on the bath or the tap on the sink, because these are the things that when you're cleaning and you're stood up, you don't see them. But when you're down at that lower level, that's what you see. And she taught me all of these things about how to like really, really do the best cleaning possible. So many things that I was taught, and how to, things that made me really sad actually working there were that I loved talking to the residents. I used to get in trouble for it all the time because I had to clean. I had a certain amount of time to get round, but the thing is, so many of the residents were lonely. They had families that never went to see them. I was working there every day through the summer, and so many people wouldn't have anyone go and see them. People would see them at Christmas and Easter, that kind of thing. Like, literally. And they had kids, but the kids didn't go in, the grandkids didn't go in. So when you went in their room to clean, they naturally wanted to talk your ear off. And I loved what they used to tell me. Like, I remember one lady, I think I told you this in a video before, it was kind of shocking to me, actually it was very shocking to me, but I went in her room and she was telling me about when she was a teenager, a house fire that happened up her road with like a thatched cottage. So like, if you're in a different country, you don't know what that is. It's like a house, but where the roof is made out of like reeds, like grass, and they're quite flammable. She was telling me about this and how it happened in the middle of the night, and everyone in the street was out on the road. She was telling me all about this story, and I was just fixated on this story. It was so captivating and engaging. And she told me the story, and she was blind. So she was lying on her bed, she was just talking to me. And I went out and I carried on cleaning, blah, blah, blah. And later that afternoon, one of the care workers came to see me, and she said, were you talking to Mrs. So-and-so earlier? And I was like, yeah. And the care worker was like, did she seem okay? I was like, yeah, she was telling me this story. She died that afternoon. And I just felt so sad. But when you work in a care home, it happens. You know, you'll go and see like, it's awful. You'll go and see someone one day and clean their room and have a nice chat, and you'll go back the next day and they're not there. And it's the saddest thing, but it taught me so much, not just about cleaning. It taught me about life. It taught me about relationships. It actually taught me how important it is to take time out of your life, that if someone wants to have a chat with you, even if you're going to get in trouble for it, have a chat to them, because you could cheer up their day so much. Whether it's like someone on the train, unless they're a bit weird, because no one talks on the train. You know what I mean? Or whatever it is, if there's someone in your life that wants to have a chat to you, even if you're really busy, just lend them your ear, listen to them, and you can learn so much from them as well. So being a cleaner was another thing that I really enjoyed. And then my final job, which was one of my absolute favourites, I'd say it's kind of on par with my cleaning job actually. But one of my favourite jobs was when I got to director. I'd worked for it for so many years. I knew that I wanted to get there. I'd worked for it for so many years, and when I got called into, I'd been working for it, and I got called into like the boardroom at one place, and they said to me like, okay, you've been working really hard and we've seen really good growth with you and you know what you're doing. Congratulations, we want to make you a director. And I was just like, I can't tell you, it was like Christmas Day as a child, the feeling in my stomach, the excitement, I can't wait to tell David, I can't wait to tell my parents. I can't wait to get back to my desk so that I've got the authority to go and change my email signature to have director written on it. I can't wait to be able to go and see my clients and be like, hey, guess what? Like, I'm one of your directors now and this is what I'm going to help you with. I was just so excited about all of it, and I loved that job. Oh my God, I loved that job. Couldn't get enough of that place. Just the most dreamiest place to work, the nicest place to work, and I have so many fond memories of it. So many of the people that I worked with are still my friends now. So I've got a group of people, one actually I'm doing a spa day with in November, but a couple of other people, we go out for loads of dinners and loads of drinks, and they have been my friends for years. And that place I'm so grateful for, because not only did I learn so much in that job, but I got career progression, which really boosted my self-esteem. It really made me feel like I've really done good, you know, for myself. But also, I made so many great friends that I know I will have for life. And for that reason, I absolutely loved it there. Like you can see from my face, I just absolutely loved it there. Working for yourself. So this has been something that I moved into. As I mentioned earlier, YouTube's not my job. I work for myself with my husband, and we've got a very small marketing agency that we just do from home. And it's great, but you do miss working with other people. You definitely miss the social aspect of mixing with other people each day. Just going into work and seeing different faces, you really miss, well I do anyway, really miss it. I know David does as well. But you know, you can't have it all, can you? Can't have it all. So they are some of my absolute most favourite jobs that I've ever had. And I really hope that if you're still here, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video and there's just been a bit of fun for you. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.